So today I'm going to talk you through the different size Posca pen nibs, and they come in a variety of sizes from a very large 17K, which is 15 millimeters, to a very fine 1MR, which is 0.7 millimeters, and you even have a brush tip as well. So we're going to talk through all the different sizes and the different lines that they produce to give you a wealth of creative options. So we're going to start with the largest pen, the 17K. So we'll just put these pens to one side and start with the 17K. And this is the largest pen that Posca produce. And as you can see, it's got a very robust nib. The K stands for the sort of shape of the nib. So this K is a chisel tip nib, and as you can see, it produces a very robust square line. So makes that very satisfying sound. So this is very well liked by street artists because obviously it could cover very large areas, and also because of its lovely square nib, it's got a variety of different marks that you can make with it. So that is 17K, and it's 15 millimeters, so that's 1.5 centimeters. So to continue with the Ks, and this is the second K, and this is the 8K. This is an 8 millimeter tip, so it's slightly smaller than a centimetre. Again, it's got a lovely variation in line because of its chisel tip. I particularly like it for handwriting, so if we do A, B, C, you can see that it works really beautifully with handwriting. Again, lovely colour coverage, and I'm showing you one of the many metallics that Posca, metallic colours that Posca produce. As you can see, gives a lovely shiny effect. So let's just see that in the light. So it's a nice little metallic there, but also, as I say, a lovely chisel tip. Again, really good for sign writing, excellent colour coverage, so great for street art and large scale artworks, and just generally an all-round good, large, robust pen for handwriting and drawing. So we've covered our K pens, the 17K and the 8K. So now we'll move on to our M pens, and the M is the bullet tip pens. So I'll start with the largest bullet tip, and this is the Posca 7M. Now this was only released quite recently, actually. It was only in the last sort of 18 months that this has been released. So it's a new pen, and it's very exciting. It's got, you can see its lovely round tip. It's got a 4.5 to 5 millimeter tip, so it's still quite large and robust. But as you can see, it gives these perfect little circles when you dot it. But it also, as well, gives this lovely line. So fantastic for outlines. I would coordinate it sometimes with the 17K and the 8K, so if you were doing large pieces of work you could colour in with that and outline with this. But the colour coverage is also very good as well, so you can see just how easily that colours in. So this is a great pen for all kinds of work, but large scale artwork would be great, or places where you had a lot of colour coverage, but you can also get the definition as well. So that's excellent. That's the 7M. So the next one down from the 7M is the 5M. And the 5M has a 1.8 to 2.5 millimetre tip. And that basically just tells you the line that it gives you. So you can see in comparison to the 7M, which was 4.5 to 5.5, this is 1.8 to 2.5. So you can go on an angle, or you can go on the tip. And I'll just show you the dots it produces in comparison so you can see the different things that it does. I'll just show you the colour coverage as well. It's got an excellent colour coverage, and this is great for all manner of art projects. It can be used on medium art projects, on colouring in. It's probably quite a good starter Posca because it's got the definition of the bullet tip, but it's equally got the large surface area colour coverage as well. So it's a good, robust pen. Just for comparison, put those lines in there. So the next one down from the 5M is the 3M, and 3M produces a 0.9 to 1.3 millimetre line, and so we'll just demonstrate here that comparison. So if I do a little dot in between our red and our peach colour, you can see that the 3M is slightly more refined, but it's still got that bullet tip. So this is again, oh, that's for later, I'll tell you about that in a second. It's really good for colour coverage and excellent for outlines. So you can use this on large scale work to add extra precision, or indeed you could do it on medium or smaller scale work for colour coverage. But you can see it's got a very, very good line, but also excellent colour coverage as well. Now with the 5M and the 3M, you can remove the tip and reverse it. They've both got reversible tips. I'll show you on the 5M as well. You can see they're both reversible. So if I hold it like that, it's probably a better indication. I'm not worried about this paint getting on my hands, by the way, because as you know, Poscas are water-based, they're non-toxic, so it's not hurting me in any way. I don't feel any reaction or anything. So they're both reversible, and you can also replace the nibs if you need to. You can also get replaceable nibs. I have to say that I'm quite rough with my pens. I sort of press down, I do all sorts of things with them. I don't ever feel the need to replace my nibs, but on the 3M and the 5M, you can replace the nibs. So I'll stop playing with this now and move on to the next size. So that's the 3M. So a continuation from the 3M is the 3ML. And the 3ML is quite a special pen, because this is the sparkling glitter pens that Posca do, and they're in a range of colours. You've got a lovely red, green, a yellow as well, so they're fantastic. I particularly like them on fabric, but they work really well on paper as well. They give a lovely glittery, sparkly sheen. They're quite nice on stone as well. I've done a couple of stone projects with them. So again, it gives the same line finish as the 3M. So I'll just show you. I'll just move these out of the way. So you can see that it's quite a similar line, 0.9 to 1.3 millimetre thing, but this is just a slightly harder nib, just to contain the glitter. If you just see there, if I hold that up to the light, you can see that shimmer. And as we know as well, now that this this is dry, I can work over my different colours as well, which is quite nice. So that's the glittery pen. So now we move on to the slightly finer pens in the M range. So we have the 1M, which has got a bullet tip, but it's slightly more pointed on the end. So if I show you with the dots, you can see that it's got a slightly smaller dots. This is a 0.7mm tip. So if I work on the very tip, I can produce a very fine line. If I hold it at an angle, I can produce a thicker line. So it's a good versatile pen. So if I show you a bit. So at the tip, fine, at an angle, thicker. So this is really good for a range of different projects. I particularly like it for smaller illustration or card making things, or if I'm doing sort of fiddly glass painting. But I can also do this with it. If I pull and drag it, so I can use it a bit like a paintbrush. So it's a very versatile pen. So again, fine detail with the tip, but then if I want to colour in, I can go at an angle, I can get good colour coverage as well. So it's a good all-rounder, this one. Again, particularly good for smaller projects. So we have the final M pen, and this is the 1MR. Now, like the 1M, it has a 0.7mm tip, but it's not angled, it's just a very round tip, so you will always get that consistent fine line. I'll just add some dots here so you can see how fine this pen is. It's also really good for writing. I'll just write my name. So you can see if you wanted to do sort of outlines, very fine outlines, but also you want to do some writing, it's good for that. That's the 1MR, and again, very, very good for colour coverage. So if you were if you knew that you worked quite small and you wanted something that was going to be sort of a good all-rounder and for small projects, this might be one to watch as well. And you can just see how lighter colours work on darker colours once the Posca's dried as well. So finally we have the brush nib of the Posca pens, and this brush tip works slightly differently to the other Poscas, where with the other ones you prime your pen by shaking it and pressing down. This is slightly different. You shake it, but because this brush tip, you can't particularly press that down, you just press down the little button at the end, and that will give you some beautiful paint flow. So you can just see how beautifully that flows there, and you can really see the variation in line. So you can go straight on, or you can work at the very tip to produce some lovely line there, and you can see how beautifully it flows. So depending on your pressure, I'm going to turn this around so we can see a bit better. I'm producing rather a lovely pattern here, so I can go and create beautiful brush effects, but with all the precision of a pen. So I can do a bit of that. And as well, I really like this pen for brush script. So I'll just write the word love and you can see what I mean. So this is, brush script's quite fashionable at the moment. So it's great to be able to have the power of this brush but with the precision of a pen. So there, is your, as I say, you can just want to show the different varying lines you can create. So there is your lovely brush tip. So I hope you've enjoyed going through all the pens. What we'll do is we'll just finish off by just recapping. So you've got the 17K. We'll just put the different nib sizes by it so you can see more clearly. The 8K. Let's see if I can balance these pens. Keep a precarious little balance there. The 7M. The 5M. Again, remember that with the 5M and the 3M, that your nibs are reversible and changeable. Then we've got the 3ml and the 1M, the 1mr, and the lovely brush. So there you have it. They are all the different nib sizes, all available for you to see and to enjoy.